Alright, I'm back with another video that's going to include a TAC server. And this time we're going to look at this repository that I have pulled up here from the same individual that did the Kraken SDR to TAC, now has a WigleToTak. Primarily, what we're going to use is Kismet to make our Wiggle CSV, but let me back up for a second. In this particular video, I'm not going to really be able to drive around right now with the WarDragon. Obviously, you can, and I will try to show in this video uh, everything that you need to get prepared to do that. You know, for war driving, I guess you'd call it, or your wireless survey, whatever it may be. But I'm not going to be able to do it for real in here. We're going to use an actual existing file that I found out on the internet at actually this repository right here. Pretty handy. All I did was change it from a CSV to a format that we're going to, well, naming convention that we're going to use for this WigleToTak. Uh, Something else I want to point out that why this is pretty handy here is because there's quite a few things that you can do with the WarDragon even if you don't have a software-defined radio. I keep referring to the WarDragon because in this instance I know for a fact the WarDragon has a wireless card, a Bluetooth card, and wireless supports monitor mode. I know it works with Kismet right out of the box. So obviously if you have Dragon OS on a laptop and everything's supported, steps are going to be fairly similar. There is a few things that I try to have pre-configured with the WarDragon, including the fact that it comes with a GPS. So there's really minimal that you're going to have to do to get this up and running, and so that's what I'm going to kind of base this video on. But I'll try and step through everything that you need to understand. So again, we'll start with WigleToTak, and I'll probably touch on Sparrow Wi-Fi as well. So bear with me, quite a few steps, but I promise it's not that difficult. So big thing is, if you look down through this repository, before we even get set up to run the Python application that comes with it, just a few things I want to point out with Kismet. So in Dragon OS, if you plug in a GPSD compatible GPS, it should pick it up automatically. You don't have to go and change the default GPSD configuration file. You typically don't. Maybe if you plug multiple devices in, you may have to make some adjustment there. But what we need to do is, well, let me see, that's my little Kismet line that we're going to start up. What you need to take a look at is in the Kismet.conf file, and I'm probably going to go ahead and pre-configure this just because it's such a simple change here in the WarDragon. But if we come down, we're looking for the area, I think I just passed it, that talks about GPS. Right in here talks about for more information on GPS types, and all I did was uncomment the GPS equals GPSD and then Control O and save that out, or whatever you got to do for your favorite editor. There is mentions of changing the Kismet logging.conf file so you could specify where your logs go. Pretty much by default in Dragon OS, wherever you start Kismet, that's typically where your log files are going to be after you exit it. So just keep that in mind. Let's see, what else? Something else that's kind of unique with Dragon OS is I do have a Python virtual environment already baked into Dragon OS based on Python 3.8. Reason being is Crocodile Hunter and GSM Evil 2 at the time of me making this operating system, it still needed those for some particular reason. So if you look at the requirements for this WigleToTak, and honestly, I think the same applies. I don't know if I showed in the last video for the Kraken attack, most likely needed Flask 2. I hope I addressed that. If not, it's a simple sudo uh, sudo space pip3 install Flask, lowercase Flask. It should be all as it is, because if you open that requirements.txt file it's referring to here, you'll see it references a specific version of Flask. But I think that it's okay with the version in the Python virtual environment I'm going to show you. I probably should verify that, but should be okay. Let's see. So if you have git cloned down your WigleToTak, typically I put things in user source. There is some things in the home directory on the WarDragon, but we'll just stick with WigleToTak here. I have, let's see, I was looking at a few things earlier, but you'll notice that there's this venv in here, and all I did was sudo lns user source crocodile hunter, let's see, source venv user source WiggleTac venv. That's pretty much what I did to make a symlink. So this directory is not really another directory, it just links to the existing directory in another location in the file system, so I don't have to take up a whole bunch of extra space. So I have that venv here, and it's not hidden like it shows here. Obviously, you can create another Python 3 virtual environment like it shows here, and you'll be fine. Um, yeah, actually, you know what? Let's just do that. So I'll remove this symlink, and we'll just do a. Well, I'm gonna have to do. This is a difference because I'm in the user source, which is owned by root. So maybe not the most recommended thing, but let's jump to root, and we'll make a Python virtual environment. I'll just leave it to where it's visible. And so let's do a source venv bin activate. And so we see we've got this venv over here. If we do which, like it's kind of suggesting there, which Python 3. Okay, so it's pointing at the Python 3 in the virtual environment. And then if we do a pip3 install -r requirements, hope I'm not making this too confusing. I'm just sticking with the virtual environment so don't mess anything else up on the system. And so what I'll do is I'll put some directions, maybe a README in the directory in case I deviate any from what's going on here in the WarDragon. And so we'll do the Flask and everything that it's suggesting, just so we know we're all good. Python 3 WiggleToTak runs on, let's see, what do we got, port 8000. So there we have that new WiggleToTak interface. But let's jump over and look at kind of what it talked about for the rest of the directions here. Let's see. Oh, so if we go back up a second, it wants us to put it in WarDrive mode. I'm not going to need to use sudo. I've already figured out what my Wi-Fi interface is. Now this would be obviously if I'm driving around for real. I would put WarDriving mode on. I would be populating information into the WiggleCSV file that it talks about in the directions here, and then I would navigate to that file with the WiggleToTak. So let's just pretend. Well, I'll start. Let's see. I'll start this, and I'm going to minimize it pretty quickly here. 2501. Okay, so I pulled up the Kismet interface. The reason why I'm on the alerts page is because it's already pouring in devices real time, and I don't feel like blanking that all out. If it's the first time that you've run Kismet, like on the WarDragon, it's going to ask you to create a username and password. I've already did that, admin. And once the GPS is locked, you will get a indication up here. If you're inside or whatever and you don't have a GPS lock, it's just going to continue to say unknown. So let's just pretend we are pulling from the live CSV file as Kismet is running. But for obvious reasons, I just can't do that right now. So if we go to WiggleToTak, I'm going to specify the IP address of the TAC server I've shown in previous videos how to set up, as well as I'm going to use the port, if you recall, For to add input, I'm going to use that same port number, and that's how we're going to get this information in, which we should see our message received increase, and we should get indications like as you see here coming from the CSV file, or obviously real time, still a CSV file but being populated like real time. So let's see, so we're at 134 because I was testing this a little while ago. If I come back here and I do the 10.18.5.1.147 and we said 8087, I'm going to look at my home Dragon downloads, and it's going to find those files ending in wiggle.csv. If I change the directory, let me see. If I went to the home Dragon, then we see that there is that real file that's being generated there. I just wanted to show that, but we're going to use the one that is pre-done here. You've got a Mac whitelist, blacklist. You can talks about colors. If I hadn't mentioned it, multicast on and off. That's if you just wanted to multicast on your network. If you had an ATAK or some device locally, it could get that. I'm just going to turn that off. And let's see what else. Also, for the heck of it, I'm going to try and remember. Let's see. If you remember, I showed how to make this goATak, build this goATak, and it comes as part of the WarDragon. It's a Linux-based ATAK client, and I'm just trying to remember web client. Let's see, what do I need? I'm going to actually connect this web client that's on the WarDragon to the TAC server that I have running elsewhere. I'm just trying to make sure I've got the right one. Config. Let me think. Server address 8087. It may have been that I okay. Okay. So I actually had the sorry, I have the goATak client also in this case built on a remote system, but and I had it pre-configured, but just let's just pretend it's the WarDragon that's got this client, or it could be any client anywhere that's Linux based. Hmm. Let me think. We'll do a little bit of configuring on the fly here. Five dot 1.47. User 1.p12. Okay, so I know that what this information is because I created it in a previous video, or at least I think I do. And so I'm up a level on the directory here. Let's do web. Let me think. So dash config Dragon client. Let's see what we get here. Okay, so now I should be, and what? Let's see what address that was, or what port number. 8080. All right, so uh, sorry for let's see, jumping around. This is me, Dragon. Okay, so this is the goATak client connected to the TAC server. Okay, we got this far. There's also the WebTac. So we can see I did some testing here earlier. I see Dragon is connected. So let's pay attention to this as we send in more information from our WigleToTak. So let's go ahead and start this. So it's broadcasting started file. And let's see. Well, I don't see anything there. Let's see. So 134. Let's go back a second. So 147, 8087. Oh, I forgot to hit save. TAC server IP and port updated successfully. Let's see what we got now. 148. We've got our WebATak client, got 7 points in. So let's see what it looks like in here. This is actually my first time trying it in this client, so I'm curious to see. Big meeting, 4 assets, penny. Okay, so it did plot the essentially Kismet points over in this Linux-based goATak client. We've got our messages increased, and we've got it on here as well. And then just out of curiosity, let's see, we did get a message over test. Okay. All right. So any questions, put it in the description. I tried to go slow and hit everything. I know there's like a lot of pieces to this. I'll try and have everything pre-configured in the WarDragon, and maybe even try and come back to this video and do it for real once I can like be on the road somewhere away, or however that works as far as showing something like that on YouTube. But just know if you basically follow these steps, you should be able to get that Wiggle information into the TAC server. And then if you have like a, some other device like I showed in the last video, or the Signalmedic showed, Android phone with whatever that is, ATAC or ITAC connected to your TAC server, you'll then be able to do those surveys and simultaneously send it over. Well, the TAC server, I guess, I should say, will handle that. We'll sync that over to your the other devices that you have on here. And let me think what else. So we ran through all that. Let's touch quickly on one more thing here, back on the WarDragon, just to show it's one more thing that we can do, which is Sparrow Wi-Fi. So I'm going to, I killed Kismet, so it's not using the wireless interface. And if we go to user source, Sparrow Wi-Fi, I did some videos on this. It's been a little while, But if we do Sparrow Wi-Fi, actually, sorry, I think you need sudo Sparrow Wi-Fi. You should get this interface here. Cool thing with this is you could add a Ubertooth and a HackerF. The GPS also is going to be looking for GPS-D automatically. So that'll turn green when that is locked. You should see that you've got your local interface here already in monitor mode because, or that monitor is there because I use Kismet. This can then scan in normal mode. You can do hunt and try to locate the devices more. Well, yeah, I guess you could do some direction finding on the devices that you're looking for, and then you can also jump to an advanced scan, which the developer put in a while back after I was asking about it, and this puts the interface into monitor mode and essentially uses like air crack under the hood to do a more thorough scan of Wi-Fi, so both the access points, clients, and so on and so forth. Also, Bluetooth, you can do like Bluetooth. You've got the Bluetooth that's built in, but you really kind of need to use it in conjunction with the Ubertooth. And that is yet another tool that you can use with the WarDragon right out of the box with no software-defined radio to do various different types of scans. Okay, all right. Well, I hope that that is helpful and just gives you some ideas on what you can do with Dragon OS, and especially for those that maybe have picked up the WarDragon. All right, thank you.